The room smelled like champagne and cheap ambition. Crystal glasses clinked. Applause rippled like polite static. I was already standing when her boss laughed. She succeeded despite her husband, he said, voice syrupy with contempt, being just a warehouse worker. No education, no prospects. A pause, then my wife smiled and nodded. Agreed, I felt it then. Not pain, clarity. I stood up slowly. Chairs scraped. The room leaned toward me, curious, dismissive. That's funny, I said quietly, because power doesn't need volume. Since I own the company you work for. Silence landed hard, but that wasn't the climax. That was just the door opening. I had learned a long time ago that betrayal never arrives screaming. It whispers, it smiles, it claps for you while planning your replacement. When I married her, she believed in me, or she said she did. That counted for something back then. I worked nights, graveyard shifts, concrete floors, inventory counts. I memorized SKU numbers the way other men memorized poetry. While she climbed, I carried. While she networked, I listened. While she slept, I learned. She never asked what I was reading at 3 a.m. Never wondered why my paycheck mattered less than my silence. The warehouse was my camouflage. I built things quietly. Shells, trusts, holding companies with boring names and lethal reach. I listened to men who underestimated me because my hands were rough. I signed documents they didn't understand because they were too busy being impressive. When the founder wanted out, I was already there. When the board needed liquidity, I provided it. When the controlling interest fractured, I absorbed it. 76% doesn't announce itself. It waits. She didn't know. Her boss didn't know. That was the gift. The first crack came months before the party. She stopped asking how my day was. Not because she was busy, but because she had decided my days were irrelevant. Her stories changed tone. Her laughter sharpened. She started repeating his jokes, using his phrases, mirroring his disdain. One night, half asleep, she said his name. I didn't confront her. I wrote it down. I don't explode. I document. The second crack came in an email forwarded by mistake. A deck, internal, confidential. My name appeared once, under risk factors. A liability. A liability with no strategic value. I smiled. That night, I initiated phase one. Surveillance isn't paranoia when you're right. I pulled call logs, expense reports, calendar overlaps. I watched patterns form like fingerprints. Lunches billed as meetings. Hotels miscategorized as conferences. A promotion accelerated too quickly to be clean. I didn't feel rage. Rage clouds judgment. I felt focus. Phase two was legal. I activated clauses written years earlier by attorneys who bill by the minute and think in disasters. Voting trusts, trigger events, morality clauses buried so deep they were forgotten. I didn't need to fire anyone. I just needed gravity to remember which way it falls. The retirement trust was my favorite. Old money likes patience. It had a single switch, one signature, one activation. I waited. The party was held in a hotel ballroom pretending to be a triumph. Her name on the banner, his hand on her back. My absence noted, then dismissed. When I arrived late and unremarkable, no one looked twice. Perfect. He made his speech, toasted resilience, praised ambition. Then the line. The insult dressed as humor. The room laughed because laughter is obedience. She agreed. That's when I stood. I didn't raise my voice. I raised the truth. He laughed first. That's cute, he said. Security? I nodded once. Call them. Also call legal. The board members in the room froze. They recognized the tone. Recognition is a reflex. I sat back down. I let the moment breathe. Monday morning, the retirement trust activated its voting rights. At 8:02 a.m., the board convened an emergency meeting. At 8:07, the CEO tried to speak. At 8:09, he realized he couldn't. Someone asked the question that always comes too late. Who just fired the person who owns 76% of the shares? No one answered. I didn't need to be there. Power travels faster when you don't ride with it. The fallout was surgical. He was removed for cause, not the insult, the affair, the misuse of funds, the coercion. Evidence doesn't care how charming you are. My wife was offered a choice. Step down quietly or be named. She chose quiet, packed her awards into a box like borrowed confidence. She came home that night. She cried, explained, justified, apologized the way people do when the math stops working. I listened. Then I slid the papers across the table. Divorce, prenup, exit terms generous enough to prove I wasn't cruel. Just finished. You knew, she whispered. I knew when you stopped asking, I said. I didn't take revenge because I was angry. I took it because I was awake. The company stabilized. Stock rebounded. The board sent flowers. I sent silence. Sometimes I walk through the warehouse again, not to remember where I came from, but to remind myself why I stayed quiet. Underestimation is leverage, and betrayal is just permission.